Well, hello. It's been a long time, isn't it? No excuses, just normal life stuff going on, and perhaps lost a little bit of fire for doing this sort of stuff over the summer. Been enjoying the bikes that I have. Obviously this is not the Aprilia. I'm out on the Africa Twin today, and this is one of the things I want to talk about. Long story, so make yourself comfortable. Now, coming back to the Aprilia, I still have it. First of all, please don't panic, I still have it. Why do I hate it? And why do I still have it? The reason I hate it is because everything I've ridden this summer, I've ridden M1000 XRs, M1000 RRs, M1000Rs, Ducati V2s, Ducati V4s, loads and loads of stuff. Everything I ride doesn't compare to that Aprilia RSV Factory that I have, and that's the reason why I hate it, is because I'm looking at where to go next, and everything I think, oh, you know, finally I think I found something that's different than what I want. I take it out, come back and think it's still not as good as that RSV, and it's really frustrating because of all the bikes that I thought, you know, the M1000 XR was really high on the list, the M1000 RR was really high on the list, and as a road sports bike and as the most amount of power that I can use on the road, if that's your thing, but that chassis on the RSV Factory that I have, I can find nothing that communicates like that chassis does. I've ridden the Ducati V4S, which has got the electronic suspension. You think, right, it's a Ducati V4S, it's going to be in a different league. It is, but not the way you want it to be. I'm sure on track it's faster, and I'm sure someone that's more skilled than me, which is most people, could say yes, it's better. But in terms of a road sports bike, I am really struggling to find anything that feels like that RSV that I've got. And the reason why it's led me to feel that way about it is every single thing I've ridden across the last 30 years, it doesn't compare to that. So it's kind of, in a way, made my journey forwards from where I am quite difficult. All the bikes that I dreamed of, oh, it must be like this, it must be like that. Take them out, come back and you think, yeah, it's not as good. It's really annoying. So just a very quick update on how the RSV has been doing, if I can get my words out. You probably noticed from the pictures at the start of this video, there's about 3 million different sets of exhausts I've had on it. Luckily with the RSV, eBay gives you some really good options with the exhausts. I've got the standard set, which it has to be sold with because the cat's in them. Amazing condition, not a mark on them. I paid something like 60 quid for them. They look good, there's no denying they look good, and the volume level is round about right. That doesn't mean I like the volume level, it's round about right. So I run those cans quite a lot. It takes no more than 2 minutes to swap them over. Really simple. 4 springs and a couple of bolts and they're off. The Aquapovic carbons, which are too much for the road. They're too loud. It loves them, the engine loves them, and it runs beautiful. What's wrong with my speaking today, people? I can't get anything out. They're just too loud. It's as simple as that. They're fun for half an hour, 45 minutes, and after that you think, no, I've had enough of that now, it's too much. So I run those occasionally when I'm feeling a bit more like a child. I'll put those on and then go for a blast around. But the best compromise I've found, perhaps no great surprise, is the Aprilia racing ones, the genuine Aprilia ones, the sort of black stainless ones. They are pretty much identical to the standard road legal ones, apart from they don't have the cats in them. If you look at the midpoint of the exhaust in between the connector where it joins the main system, the actual silencer itself, you'll see on the standard can there's a little lump in there, that's where the cat is, and the Aprilia racing ones haven't got that. So they've got pretty much the perfect level of sound for being appropriate for road use but still being fun. The engine runs really sweet on them. It doesn't seem to like the cats. When you put the standard exhausts on there, it feels like it's not revving freely because it's not. So I tend to run those Aprilia racing ones. Now, I want to come on to this Africa Twin and part of the title. So the reason why I left this video for quite a while is because I've had a really bad experience with Honda. And I'm being really specific. Honda of Bournemouth, who I've bought this bike from, have been good. I'm going to go no further than that. Now the issue is, when I got this serviced, I swapped. Seriously, imagine being me. I had the tyres swapped over to road bias Bridgestone A41s. And as soon as I rode away, I thought, either these are out of balance or something isn't right. And I thought perhaps it's just me being a bit oversensitive. So I took it straight back and said, look, I'm not being a pain in the arse, but there's something not right. And they checked the wheel balance and the front was way out of balance, which is one, disappointing because they should have checked that when they fitted. So that's my only criticism of Bournemouth Honda. So they balanced it up and it was better. I'm not going to say it was good, but it was better. Normal problem with, you know, a front wheel out of balance, hammering at high speed, feel the vibration, it was pretty bad. Rode around with it for a couple of weeks and thought, oh, I don't know, this shouldn't be like this. So I took it back to Honda again. They popped the front wheel out and they stuck it on the wheel balancing machine and they said, well, we found the problem and it's not the balance. I thought, well, this isn't good. Took me into the workshop and the front wheel is buckled. And they said they've never seen it before on an Africa Twin. It's not a problem they're aware of. And they said, well, you've clearly not hit anything because there's no damage on the wheel. The wheel's unmarked. It's like new, it's perfect. But there was a buckle there and they said, not a problem, we'll put a warranty claim in with Honda. We're fairly confident we should be able to get you a new wheel. So our phone rings a couple of weeks later. I was at work and they said, it's Bournemouth Honda, we've got some bad news. Unfortunately, Honda won't go for the warranty claim. I didn't really know how to respond, and the justification that Honda UK gave is that the warranty claim was a year after the bike was bought, and therefore that fault must have been there when I bought the bike. I said, I'm not getting the relevance because clearly it wasn't right from the start. And a series of phone calls and a series of letters and a series of emails, Honda UK agreed that something clearly is not right, but it comes down to the selling dealer to resolve it. We got the ombudsman involved and all sorts of various people that I'm not going to spend time talking about now. Long story short of it is the wheel is about 2.5 mil out of true, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you put it on a wheel balancing machine, you can really see it. Now the MOT standard for run out in a front wheel is 4 mil, so it's legal. Now, Bournemouth Honda have been good. They are taking the bike back in a couple of weeks' time. They're going to take the front wheel out. They're going to balance it up within an inch of its life. They admit that they could have done a better job on the balancing, and it does help. Now, the reason why it's a problem is these tubeless rims, and I'm being very specific, the tubeless rims, they can be straightened, but every single specialist I've spoken to, long list of them, every single one in the UK basically, say that the amount of labour that is involved in truing a tubeless rim and the end result you get will be no better than you've got now. And a couple of them explained that they're having this issue with the BMW GS, no great surprise. And because of the number of GSs, they're all getting this problem now that where the wheels are coming out of true. Not all of them, I take that back. A majority of them are getting this problem where the wheels coming out of true. Now, the ones that you buy brand new from BMW, in some cases they found have been in excess of 4 mil off true, which BMW say is serviceable. But the problem is you can't pass the MOT like that, and a front wheel for this is 1,280 quid plus VAT. So, what does that mean in the real world? All this last couple of months I've been having letters and emails and phone calls and working with Honda. I'm not going to buy any more brand new Hondas. The customer service from Honda UK has been completely unacceptable. Bournemouth Honda have been doing everything they can do, bear in mind they're a private business like all dealers. they can't stretch to a new wheel, but they're going to do all the labour for free, they're going to do all the balancing for free, they're doing everything for free, which is fair enough. I really struggle when I spend, well, the list price for this bike is £21,000. Honda UK have agreed there's a problem with the front wheel. The dealer have agreed there's a front wheel problem. It's under warranty, it's serviced by Honda, everything is completely on the book, and Honda are saying they aren't going to change the front wheel. Now I admit it's legal, and Honda say it's within the service limit. So in terms of is it okay, going by safety standards and going by legality, it's fine. But the point is, I don't want to have a front wheel that is notably at speed vibrating, and I don't see why I should do. So without waffling on too long, spoke to Honda, and this will be going back late next year, which is the earliest possible time I can settle the finance on it. It's a shame because the rest of the bike, I had a fallout with this bike. You know, it was it got to the point where I felt I couldn't continue with the bike, and Bournemouth Honda again took it in and balanced the wheel up again, and it was better. So over the last couple of months, we've had a bit of a few counselling sessions, we've had a few discussions, and I had a really good ride. The other day I took it out and said, right, I've got a day free, I'm just going to go for a ride, and it was one of the best rides I've had in a couple of years, and it was on this bike. So it will be staying until the very earliest possible point I can get rid of it, which is a real shame. And it's not an Africa Twin problem, it's not, you know, a huge great warranty recall problem, it's not that at all. How it happened, no one seems to know. Possibly when it was decrated. Honda Bournemouth say it's impossible to bend a wheel when they fit the tyre. Nothing's impossible, we know that. It's unlikely, I admit that, but something clearly has happened to that front wheel, and it's not been a strike, it's not been an impact. There's been nothing that we can think of that's caused it. So I'm just really disappointed in Honda and attitude, saying that, yes, Mr. Head Race, you've spent 18 grand, as it was in this case. Yes, there's a problem with the wheel. Yes, it's probably a manufacturing fault. We can't prove when it happened. We're not going to do it. So that's really disappointing. Where I'm going to go after this is difficult. I spent some time with the BMW dealers, who are everything that everyone says they are. They are incredible. The bikes aren't as good as these. I'm sorry, that's just going to be truth. The quality's not there. The pricing structure is interesting. They are overpriced. Let's just get away with it. You know, let's just get on board with that. The M1000 XR that I rode was just short of £30,000, which is too much for a bike. But the experience I had with BMW is a big part of the factor. So in about a year's time, this will be going back to Honda, saying thank you, Honda, for your business over the last 30 years. I've probably spent who knows how many tens of thousands of pounds, who knows, but I'll be no longer engaging with Honda in terms of new bikes. So likely it's going to be something like possibly an M1000 XR, could be going that sort of way, and very similar bike. You know, I can see why it's difficult as a Harley Fat Boy. I've got to have one before, I get too old. Yeah, very interesting times at the moment, very interesting times. Financially, I'm not really restricted too much, which is a nice position to be in. The Ducati V2 Multi is always on the radar. Panigale, this could have been a Panigale. You might remember that video a while ago. This was very nearly a Panigale. I have seen the new V4 and new V2, keyword there being seen. Disappointment level on that bike is shocking. I'm sure it rides better, I'm sure it's better in every single way, but that is not what I want a Panigale to look like, and that build quality is not what I expect from Ducati. Unacceptable. So I will not be buying a new Panigale. If I bought one, it would probably be a V4 SP or the V4000R. Don't need them, can't ride them, but it's just the value of having something special. So that's probably what we're getting if I went for a V4. So just to start summing up, I appreciate I waffled on for a fair bit. It's been a pretty tough summer for a number of ways, but in terms of biking, me and the Aprilia are on the same wavelength, and it's everything you'd want from a garage queen. I admit it's a garage queen, it is. When it comes out, you think, oh, this is the best thing ever. Hour and a half later, you think, I can't feel anything, I'm completely uncomfortable, I'm quite annoyed with it. It's difficult to ride, and it goes back in the garage, but you can still sit and look at it. It's everything you want from that Sunday special bike. I do hope to be doing more YouTube. I've got a bit more time on my hands now. I'm not going to get too involved into why that is, but I'm going to have a bit more time on my hands. Apologies for not being in contact for a while. It's just been one of those runs of a couple of months where you need to focus on other things. So, long story short, guys, there you go. Not been a great experience with Honda. Loving the RSV. BMW are fantastic, and everything is like you'd expect it to be in terms of those things. So it's a completely useless video. Fantastic. I hope you're all doing well. Yeah, drop any comments you've got. It's good to speak to you again. Nice one.